Good morning, students.
Good morning.
Okay, good morning. So am I audible? Am I clearly audible to you?
Yes, madam.
Okay, right. Right. So we are going to continue the introduction to computer programming. So last week, so I gave you the introduction. What do you mean by computer programming and why we need to learn computer programming? So, so what is the programming language that we are focusing on? So those type of basic information I have given to you last week, right? So this week onwards, we are going to start the lessons. We are going to start to do the programming, right? So as far as you know, we are doing C, right? So under this course, we are learning C because C is the basic building blocks of most of the computer programming. So therefore, we started from C. So if you, after you know C, after you have gained some sort of idea in C language, you will be able to catch or grab any other programming language because here we are going to discuss almost all the basics to this computer programming language, right? Right. So so we are going to learn the fundamentals. Under this fundamentals, there are actually two parts, fundamental 1 and 2. So with the time, we'll see whether we can proceed to the fundamental 2 as well. So anyway, we'll start from fundamentals 1. So first of all, so first we need to install the C compile in our system, right? So nowadays, C and C++, both compilers, come as a single integrated package which serves the purpose of C and C++, both program development, right? So before we start, actually, in order to do the programming, yes, true, we can do the programming by writing the computer programs on a paper. Pen or pencil, we can write the program itself, right? And also we can read the programs, but actually the most effective way of doing programming is you by yourself have to write the programs on a C using a computer program software, right? So then, that's why we need to install a compiler. So when you are selecting a compiler for you, right? So nowadays, when you are selecting a compilers under the C, right? Nowadays, most of the compilers they have been packaged with C and C++. So therefore, so when you install C compiler, so you will automatically get C++. Or although the compiler name as C++, so when you install it, you will get C. So better before you install whatever the compiler, better to search, although its name as C++, whether it contains C. C කියනවාද කියලා බලන්න. Right? සමහර ඒවා C++ කියලා name කරලා තිබුණාත් package එක විදිහට C එනවා. Right. So so actually last week we have gone through what do you mean by compiler and what do you mean by interpreter. So actually since we need to install a C compiler, again I'm reminding you. So compiler is a program which transforms the human readable program to a machine understandable program, right? අපට තේරෙන භාෂාව කම්පියුටර් එකට තේරෙන භාෂාවට කන්වර්ට් කරන්න කම්පයිල් එක හරහා, right? So human readable. So although we are writing a program in C or Java or Python or whatever, so we write it in using the English terms. But however, almost all the English terms, identifiers, variables, functions, arrays, so structures, so those things cannot be understandable by machine. So therefore, we need to convert those English words to a machine readable format. So that is, we need to convert it to a binary format. So that is, so compile is the one who's going to transform human readable programming language to the machine readable programming language. So that's why we need a compile actually. So when you are searching a compiler for you, right? So there are actually paid compilers are there, totally free compilers are there, and also there are compilers where you can install them for a certain period of time. That means trial, right? You're going to trial like a download ka install karapla. So after the trial period, you have to pay, right? But so you do not need to pay actually. So there are so many free, right? Free open source C compilers are there, so you can use them, right? Okay, so here is a list of frequently used free marks, totally free, right? CCS, C compiler, Turbo C, Minimalist, GNU for Windows, Portable C, Client C++, Digital Mouse, Intel C++, IBM C++, Visual C++. So please note that this is Express Edition, right? So most of the Visual Studio, visual programming, so they are not fully free. But when you consider about the Express Edition, it is free, right? And Oracle C++. These are the free C compilers, and also there are some paid C compilers or programs are also available where you can use them for a certain period of time. That means trial. Within the trial period, you can use them freely, but after that, you have to pay. So these are some of them: Embed and Edison Design Group C++, Green Hill C++, HP C++ for Unix, that is. So Intel C++ for Windows, Microsoft C++, and Paradigm C++. Right? These are some paid C compilers. And apart from them, students, there are some online C compilers. So that means without downloading and installing within your system or its computer. So there are online, so many websites are there, online softwares are there where you can write your program on the online version, on the online writing pad and check. You can compile and run on the online platform itself. So, for example, online GDBC compiler, then tutorials, point compiler, then Great Flares Online C compiler. So these are some of my compiler, one compiler, CodeCheck. So those are called online C compilers. So you are free to use them either, right? So actually the advantage of using offline version is you do not need to work totally online, right? Online in code right? But if you are capable, you can use the online C compilers also, right? So out of this, you have the freedom, right? You have the freedom to choose whatever C compiler for yourself, right? So although I'm using a particular software, you do not need to use the same software. You have the freedom to use whatever. So sometimes most of you guys have already installed a C compiler in your computer, so no need. So if you are accustomed or if you have the experience of using your own software, it doesn't matter, right? දැනටමත් ඔයගොල්ලෝ සමහරව එක purposes වලට C compiler එකක් ඇති. ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ඒක පුරුදු නම් ඒක use කරත් කිසිම ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ, right? So actually the software that I'm going to use is the Dev C++, open source C++ IDE for Windows, right? For Windows, since I'm using Windows, I'm using Dev C++. So some of you may use Unix, Linux. So according to your platform, you can use appropriate software. So in my case, I'm using Dev C++, right? So that is also C++ package coming in, come as one package, right? So then Dev C++ is a full-featured C and C++ integrated development environment IDE for Windows platform. So most of the developers, students, researchers, they are using, and it has been featured in dozens of C++, C scientific books and remains. Yes, because so many tutorials are there, help pages are there, so many materials are there where you can use them within the Dev C++. So first of all, you need to download. So if it is Dev C++, it doesn't matter Dev or whatever. So you need to download the software, and first you need to install it. So whenever you're going to install a software, right? So there in most of the softwares you need to agree for the license agreement, right? So here is also the same. So here also you need to agree for the license agreement. And then, so after agreeing for the license agreement, so you can read whatever you want, right? So then, next comes the window to choose which features you want to install. So normally, automatically by default, so they have selected some of the features, right? So if you are too specific on some of the few features or whatever the features you require, you can check it, uncheck it, or whatever, or else you can accept what they have checked as it is, right? ඒගොල්ලෝ පටන් ගන්නකොට මේගොල්ලෝ යම්කිසි options වගේක් check කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒක ඔයගොල්ලෝට as it is by default කියන ටික agree කරලා next එන්න පුළුවන්, දෙන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම නැත්නම් ඔයගොල්ලෝ specifically interested features තියෙනවා නම් ඒවා click කරලා යන්න පුළුවන්. But there should be some features where there should be there in order to run your program. Right. So here normally, so after agreeing to the license agreement, we just click next. And so if you want to change the destination folder, so this asks where to install this particular software if you want. So automatically it comes as C program files if it is Windows, this destination. Otherwise, you can change the destination folder. And then it start to extract the downloaded files and start to download. Right after downloading, says I complete C++. So this is in my version. It's 5.1. It's somewhat old version, but now there are so many new versions are there. It's been installed on your computer. You can click finish. So after you finish, if you click here, so it will automatically run the dev C++ for you. Right. So at the very first glance, you will get, they will ask you, select your language. So you need to select the correct language, because here, as you know, we are writing our programs, so mostly in English. So if you are familiar with any other language, you can insert whatever the language you want, because though that is the language you are going to code in. Almost all the identifiers, variables, constant structures, arrays, functions, all these things should be written using whatever the language you are selecting here. Right. So again, the color they're asking, the icon, whatever the size actually. So you can click on next and have been configured. So after those configurations, they are saying Dev C++ has been configured successfully. If you need some help, they are also giving the help menus where you can go through. So after click OK, you will automatically direct to Dev C++ program environment. So if I share my program environment, I think now you can see, right? Right, students, can you see the Dev C++ working environment?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, okay. So here is what you get. So normally you get like this, right? So here you have almost all the main menu bar is there. Then the mostly using icons of the Dev C++ will appear here. For example, so after writing a program, you need to compile, you need to run. So all these icons are frequently using icons and also saving, opening, all these things are there. So here you are in the untitled page. Untitled page means a new page. It's like when you are using Word, Word. So if you open up a new Word document, it's like this. So it's a totally new. So here you can write whatever the things, whatever the coding you like, or else you can, if you have have a previously stored program, you can click and open it, right? For example, so here is again under this new source file. So last week we learned that, right? So normally the environment or else the IDE that we are writing the program, we call it as source code, right? So this source code, source code, source file. So here, therefore, in order to write a source code, in order to write your own code, we need to open a new source file. So likewise, you can open new source files, or else here you can see the shortcut is Control N, right? Or else you can open existing codes which you have already written and saved. So likewise, you can open. So this is the code which I have previously coded and stored in my computer. So you can open up, right? So then after opening, you can run them like this. So first you need to compile them, right? So if I get this one. Right. So if you consider this code, you can compile and then you have to run, right? So after compilation, again, I'm closing this after you compile. So after you click this, you can, so when I point it here, you can see it says compile F9. So when you compile it, if this program contains no error, right? If no errors are, no coding errors are there, so it is compile and no error messages are coming up, right? No error messages are coming up. So then you can, after compile, you can run the code, right? Then it will give an output. So actually this is a code where it shows your registration number, department, faculty, and the university. So here you can see registration number is this one. So I don't know whether you can see the output. So can you see the output or the command prompt, students? Yes or no? Can you see the command prompt output? Command prompt output tab pena do golonta manda run kara. Etara command prompt.
No.
No. Right. Right. After compiling, right? After compiling and running, so you will get the command prompt output like this. So you will see here. So that my program, I have written my program to display registration number, department, faculty, and the university. So here it comes. Here it gives me the program output like this. Right. So likewise, so that is basically what you are going to do, what you are doing under whatever the software that you have installed within your system or a computer. So in my case, it is Dev C++. Again, I'm saying, so you can install whatever the C program, C software, which is flexible, which is easy for you, right? Make them C compiler, but the important thing is you should install and you should write. Mune software ke install karat avashya wenne aniwaren install karanna one aniwaren program codes ogol liyanna one, right? So at least you need to practice the codes that that we are discussing within the lecture program. I prefer, apart from those codes, you need to practice the codes that you can find from the internet, right? Google again, internet again, download karagata code, exercises, Google thani practice kala yutuma vena. Because students, again I'm saying, right, as you saw, so when you have the software, when you write a program and compile it, if there are errors, it definitely shows you the errors. If there are errors, it won't allow you to proceed or run and give you the output. Errors output errors but so therefore, so within the software, if you have identified any errors, you can correct them, right? You can correct them and then you can run and get the output. But so at the final exam paper, you are not provided the computer with the software, right? So there you have a written paper, right? Then then you should have to have a very good practice to write computer programs on a paper. එතනදී ඔයගොල්ලෝගේ අඩුපාඩු එහෙම නැත්නම් compilers ඔයගොල්ලන්ට දකින්න විදියක් නැහැ. එතනට ඔයගොල්ලෝ perfect වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඔයාලගේ program එක කොලේ ලියන්න. Right? To write the program on the paper, you should be super genius in codes. Right? So therefore, if you are doing this practice, makes you perfect. Right? So so this is not a course where you can learn by heart at the last week of before the last week of the exam. Exam එකට සතියක් තියලා කරන්න පුළුවන් subject එකක් නෙමෙයි. Right? So therefore you should do the practice. So throughout this course, we are doing continuous assessments, and as I told you, I'm giving you the mid-semester exam. Assessments කීපයක් තියෙනවා. Mid-semester exam එක තියෙනවා, but finally you need to face for the final exam as well. So because there are 60% marks will be taken from the final exam, but if you can't write a program, it will be a problem. And students, don't think that so you will get a number of programs. You have to write number of programs. So there I'm not asking to write a program to display your name, department, and the faculty. So there you need to program for the mathematical calculations, for the arrays, for the functions, for the structures, for a given application. Then application එකට අනුගල code කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙනවා. Right? So therefore the coding, the knowledge of coding, you should improve your knowledge of coding. So actually if you do not have a previous coding experience, this is the place where you can start. Make it a minimum class and no net. While practice karanona, because there are so many tutorials are there on the internet, right? There are so many resources on the internet. So this is the place where you can start. Right. Okay. And the C language fundamentals. So C programs, each word and punctuation is referred to as a token. Right? Each word and punctuation is referred to as a token. Right? In English. So although we are referring the blocks as words, but in under the C programs they are talking them as a token. Right? ඒගොල්ලෝ ඒ word එකක් හඳුන්වන්නේ tokens. විවිධාකාර වර්ගයේ tokens there are several types of tokens. So we'll see when we proceed to the lecture. See, tokens are the smallest building block or the smallest unit of the C program. So when we write a program and when we ask the compiler to compile it, so compiler is the one who is going to break the program into possible units, that means possible tokens, and proceeds. Right? අපි සම්පූර්ණ program එක ලියලා දුන්නාම එක compile එකෙන් වෙන්නේ එක කුඩා tokens වලට කඩන එක. Right? Right. So C supports 6 type of tokens. මේ තමයි ප්‍රසිද්ධම tokens ටික, popular tokens coming under the C. So there are identifiers, keywords are there, constants are there, strings are there, operators are there, special symbols are there. Right? Identifiers, keywords, constants, strings, operators, and special symbols. Right? So when we go through the lecture, right, we will one by one we'll understand what do you mean by identifier, keyword, constant, string, operators, and special symbols. Right? First, C identifiers. Right? C identifiers. Identifiers are the names given to a different entity, such as constants, variables, structures, functions. Right? Anyway, what you need to imagine is, or assume is, දැන් තියෙනවා යම්කිසි දෙයක් constant කියලා දෙයක් තියෙනවා, variable කියලා දෙයක් තියෙනවා, structure කියලා දෙයක් තියෙනවා, function කියලා දෙයක් තියෙනවා. මේ වගේ වර්ග කීපයක් තියෙනවා. Right? මේ දේවල් වලට දෙන නම, just the name of these entities. The name of constant, the name of variables, the name of structure, the name of function. Function, or as the constant, variable, structure. Then we got the constants. Constant means a group. Make a group pick up. Right? It's a group. Right? It's like your badge. Right? It's like your badge. Alage badge එක ඇතුලේ, right? There are so many students, right? And for each and every students, you guys are having names. ඔයගොල්ලන්ට නම් තියෙනවා, right? It's like them, right? ඔයාලගේ badge එක ඇතුලේ, right? So each of you have your own name. So that is, so under the C, it's like an identifier. එතකොට C identified කියන්නේ අන්නේ නම වගේ. Right. So here, so the above example. Right. So here, here is the two examples. Int amount, double, total balance. Right. So here actually, just think about this int and double. Int and double කියන එක අමතක කළොත්, right? Amount, total balance. Right. These are called identifiers. Actually, මේ තියෙන මේ දෙකම variables එකක්. Right. These two are two variables. Right. So this is an integer type variable. අපේ කියන numeric variable එකක්. So right, integer type amount. For example, amount of money in our purse, in your purse, right? Where purse එකේ තියෙන සල්ලි ප්‍රමාණය. Right. So amount means the identifier or as the name. So here total balance, right? Total balance. It's the name. So these two are amount and total balance are the identifiers. මේ identifiers ඕන කෙනෙක්ට වෙනස් කරන්න පුළුවන්, right? So I am saying it is amount. One of you can say it's total amount, right? ඕන විදිහකට මේක නම් කරන්න පුළුවන්. It doesn't matter, right? Total balance. You can say it's just a balance. ඔයගොල්ලන්ට මේක balance කියලා නම් කරන්න පුළුවන්. තව කෙනෙක්ට tot balance, TOT balance, right? Anyway, these names can be changed. So that is called identifiers, right? Identifiers. But so this int, double, so those are keywords. These things cannot be changed. Int කියන කෙනෙක්ට කාටවත් integer කියලා ලියන්න බෑ. So this is this. මේක මෙහෙමයි. නමුත් මෙන්න මේ නම ඕන කෙනෙක්ට ඕන විදිහට වෙනස් කරන්න පුළුවන්. Right? Anyone can then change the name. Right? However, although you can change the names, amount, total amount, AMT, balance, just balance, dot balance, whatever the name you can have. But when you're writing the names, right? When you're writing the name, there are some rules are there, right? Some rules are there, right? When you're creating a name by yourself for a constant or for a variable, for a function or whatever, there are some specific rules. So what are these? නම හදනකොට rules කීපයක් තියෙනවා. An identifier or a name can only have alphanumeric characters, right? So that means letters and digits and underscore symbol. So නමට තියෙන්න පුළුවන් alphanumeric characters. Simple A to simple Z, capital A to capital Z, 0 to 9. Right? That means letters and digits and underscore තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. මේවායින් එහාට දේවල් තියෙන්න බෑ. Right? Right. Then for example, dash hunt. Underscore can, right? Along with the letters and digits, you can have underscore. Other symbols are not allowed. Right? Then identifier names must be unique. Right? Identifier names must be unique. Right? එහෙම කියන්නේ මම. For example, assume that there are two persons. Right? There are two drovers. Right? Drovers දෙකක් ගැන ඔයගොල්ලන්ට කතා කරන්න ඕනේ. Drovers දෙකක තියෙන amount එක. Right? Amount of money. You need to talk about the amount of money in two drovers. ලාච්චු දෙකක තියෙන සල්ලි ප්‍රමාණය ගැන කතා කරන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට එහෙම කතා කරනකොට ලාච්චු දෙක ගැන කතා කරද්දී, so we'll say for the first drover we are calling it as int amount. For the second drover also we call it as we give the name as int amount. So that is wrong, right? The name which you are putting should be unique. It's a unique way. It's a drawer එක නමයි. For the one drawer you can say amount 1. For the second drawer it can be amount 2. Anyway, the name should be different. So the same names can be used for two different entities. So that is the rule. Right? Names must be unique. It's like within your batch. So let's say there are 120 students are there, right? For 120 students, your names, right, are different, right? I'm not saying just a one. The first name, සම්පූර්ණ නම ගත්තොත් කාටවත් එකම නම නැහැ, right? So they are different. So the best example is your index number, right? So none of two students within your batch has the same index number. So your index number or as your identity card number, they are unique. Right. So the first character must be alphabet or an underscore. First character that should be alphabet character. Underscore. So that means you can't start the identifier or as the name with a digit. Digit 0 up to 9 digits you can't start, but digits can be reside within the name. Digits for example, Chaturika 1, 2, 3. So that is possible. But 1, 2, 3 Chaturika, that is not possible. Right? So the first character should be alphabet or an underscore. Maximum length allow is 31 characters in C language. So language to language, the number of characters, the maximum length is different. So in C it is 31. Right? You can use keyword. You cannot use keyword as identifiers. For example, I told you, mama keywords. Main right? So this double, it's a keyword. So here you can't say int double. Nama venuwata me wage keyword ekak pawichchi karanna bෑ. Right? Int double or else double int. So that is not possible. Right? So keywords cannot be used as identifiers. And it must not contain white spaces. Right? Spaces in the back. And identifiers are case sensitive. Remember that, right? Identifiers are case sensitive, right? So here, right, again, I'm writing an example. I'm initializing another variable as amount. Students, right, these two are different. Right? Why? So this start from simple A and this start from capital A. Right? So that's why. So at the beginning of the program, the variable that you want is amount to nata. Capital amount. Right? So this is a variable initialization. Variable initialize. So after that, we are putting some values to the variable. It's like variable it's like we are introducing a variable, right? Later on we are putting some values. Amount first amount right? We are putting 100 to amount, we are putting 1000 to amount, we are putting 1 to 2 to amount, right? So so when we are going to assigning values to the amount, later on we are use the word not simple, the word amount starting from simple A but capital A. So then the program gives you an error, said what is this? What is this? What is this variable starting from capital A? May amount kiyaneka program එක recognize කරන්නේ නැහැ. Right? Because here you all program එකට හඳුන්වලා දීලා තියෙන amount starting from the simple A. So that's why we are saying, right, this identifier names are case sensitive. You should be very careful about the cases. Simple, capital, So those are the rules. So these rules should be in your mind when you are writing a name. Right? Okay. See keywords. So next year, so now we learn about the identifiers. Now keywords. Right? Keyword cannot be used as an identifier. Say keyword. Right? So keywords, you cannot use keyword as an identifier. So namak vidiyata keyword ekak denna bෑ. So that is the first thing. Right? It is reserved. It is reserved. It is reserved. It's allocated, right? It is allocated, right? Words in C library and used to perform an internal operation. Operation allocated. They have been already allocated. The meaning and working of these keywords are already known to the compiler. The compiler doesn't know. For example, int amount. Int is a keyword. It is a keyword. So when we write a program inserting int amount, compiler knows what do you mean by int. Compiler doesn't know right? So compiler knows what is the meaning of double. Right? We do not specifically tell the compiler making කියන maker. So because that these are already predefined, right? These are already predefined. The meaning of the keywords have been already predefined. You do not need to introduce them to the compiler, right? Okay. Right. So C keyword list actually. So these are the 32 reserved keywords in C language, right? Reserved keywords C language. So here these 32 words cannot be used as identifiers. So may 32 words ඔයගොල්ලන්ට identifiers ඒ කියන්නේ නම් හඳුන්වා දීමේදී use කරන්න බෑ. Right. List of 32 reserved keywords in C language is given below. Right. Auto break, case, char, const, continue, default, do, double, else, extern, float, for, go to, if, int, long, register, return, short, sign, size of, static, struct, switch, type def, union, unsigned, void, volatile, pipe. Right? These 32 keywords are already reserved and you can't use them as identifiers. As keywords, yes, definitely you can use, but as identifiers, you can't use. Keyword එකක් විදිහට භාවිතා කරන්න පුළුවන් වුණා identifier එකක් විදිහට බෑ. Right? So these are the total set of keywords, total set of 32 reserved keywords. So here they have been categorized. They have been categorized. 32 අපි මෙහෙම as a whole කිව්වට ඒවා එක එක category මේවා අපිට එක එක category වලට බෙදන්න පුළුවන්, right? We can divide these 32 keywords under specific categories. So these are there, right? So int, char, float, double, unsigned, sign, long, short. These are data types. These are the 8 data types. Right? These are 8 data types. Then there are flow controls, right? If, else, for, while, do, switch, case, break, before, go to. These are flow controls. Set. And storage classes, auto, static, register, extern, store. Then function related keywords, void, return. Memory related, constant, volatile, size of. Then user defined struct, union, type, def, and sorry. Right? So these are the categories. So that means these keywords have been categorized according to their purpose. Special purpose category right. Example, where and how keywords are used in the program, right? Where and how, right? කොහොමද keyword එකක් කොතනද සහ කොහොමද භාවිතා කරන්න කියන එක තමයි මෙතනින් කියන්නේ, right? Example, where and how keywords are used in the program, right? So I think at the very first lecture, so that means last week, I told you, so when you are going to write a C program, there are some specific things are there you should have to have when you are writing the C program, right? There are some specific things you should have to have. First, so here you can see hash include stdio.h. It should be there, right? So then main method should be there. So under the main method, within the closing, opening and closing braces, you have to write down the whatever the content coming under the C program, right? Under the C program, right? So in the above program, so as you can see, float, return are keywords. Float කියන keyword එකක්. Float කියන keyword එක යටතේ නම් දෙකක් තියෙනවා. Right? Float A and float B, right? So here this can be written as float A, float B. So this can be written as like this. මේක මෙහෙම ලියන්නත් පුළුවන්. Right? But here අපි දෙපාරක් float කියලා ලියනවට වඩා, so rather than writing a float twice, we can write it like this. Float A, B, but at the end you have to put semicolon, right? But if you are writing as in two separate sentences, at the end you need to put semicolon, right? Since float is repeated, that's why in order to avoid the repetition, they have used single float A, B. This is also both types are correct. Dekama hari. right? So here actually showing how keywords are used, right? මෙතන අපි කරන්නේ මෙන්න මේ sentence එක අපි print කරලා පෙන්නන්න යන්නේ showing how keywords are used. මේක අපි output එකේ print කරනවා. So whatever you are going to print or whatever you are going to give as a output print එකක් විදියට දෙනවා නම් අපි statement එකක් sentence එකක්, so we have to use double quotes. අපි මේ double quotes අතුලේ හරිද මේ double quotes අතුලේ තමයි අපි මේ sentence එක දාන්න. එතකොට මේක මෙහෙමම print වෙනවා, right? So this is going to print as it is, right? Right. So in order to print something, the command that we are going to use is printf. Like අපි කියන function එක, right? This is a type of a function, right? Later on we will learn what's a function, but so to now දැනට ඔයාලගේ knowledge එකට, so we are in order to print something as it is, right? My name is Chakarika කියන එක මට මේ සම්පූර්ණ sentence එක print කරගන්න ඕන නම් මම ලියනවා printf within double quotes දෙක ඇතුලේ my name is Chakarika. So එතකොට ඒකේ හිමම print වෙනවා output, right? So here actually we are showing you float and return, right? This is a function normally after, so with the function අපි මෙන්න මේ return කියන statement එක තියෙනවා. Later on we will learn what is the actual purpose of return, but here return is again a keyword and float is again a keyword, right? The float is used to declare variables. Here අපි මේ variable declaration එකක් කරලා තියෙනවා, and return is used to return integer type value in this program, right? Right, next constants, right? එතකොට අපි මුලින්ම identifiers ඉගෙන ගත්තා. We learn identifiers, then we learn about keywords, right? Now we are going to learn about the C constants, right? C constants. Constants are like variable, right? Right, variable. So what do you mean by like variable? In maths also we are writing variables, right? Like variable එකක් කියන්නේ මොකක්ද කියලා? Variable එකක්, for example, if we write like this, if I write number 5, right? Number 5. Is this a variable? Students, is this a variable or a constant? Constant. So if I write just arbitrary x is a variable or a constant?
It's a variable.
It's a variable. So why is that? For this 5, it has a specific value. පහ කියන එකට නිශ්චිත අගයක් තියෙනවා 5. But if we consider about x, right, x can be at a time, right, in different occasions, x can have different values. For example, now x can be 2, right? Later on x can be 5. Later on x can be 1000. x ට හැම නිශ්චිත අගයක් නැහැ, right? එතකොට x කියන එක නා variable එකක් වෙනවා. Time to time, according to the purpose of the program, right, we can assign different values to x. x ට විවිධාකාර values අපිට ගලපන්න පුළුවන්, right? So then it is a variable, but 5 is a constant. මෙතන කියනවා constants are like a variable except that their value never change during the execution once defined, right? Right, within the programming, right, during the program when we are writing programs, usually we are working with variables, right? We are working with variables. අපි variables එක තමයි program එක පුරාවට වැඩ කරන්නේ. Why? Time to time we are assigning different values to our variable. Within variable එකේ value එක වෙනස් වෙනවා. ඒ වගේම so we are working with the constants where during the program execution the value of the constant never change. So the variable එකයි constant එකයි අතර තියෙන වෙනස තමයි variable එකේ value එක වෙනස් වුණා constant එකේ value එක වෙනස් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. See, constant is the most fundamental and essential part of C programming language. Constant in C are the fixed values that are used in a program and its value remains the same during the entire program. Program එක පුරාවටම පහම තමයි. Right. Constants are also called literals. In some references, in some books, or in some websites, they are referring the constants වලට literals කියලා කියනවා. Right? Constant can be any of the data types. Sorry. ඕනම data type එකකින් එන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් උඹට data type කියන්නේ මොනවද කියලා බැලුවොත්. So here are data types. Int වෙන්න පුළුවන්, char වෙන්න පුළුවන්, float, double, unsigned, signed, long, short. මේ ඕනම දෙයකින් constants එන්න පුළුවන්. Right? ඕනම දෙයකින් constants. int නම් integer number type එකක් නම් 5 6 7 8 වගේ constant එකක්. Right? Character එකක් නම් characters කියලා කියන්නේ තනි. It's like one letter of an alphabet. Alphabet එක එක letter එකක්. A B C D E F G whatever. Right? Float එකක්. Float double වෙද්දී it's like a fractional number. දශමත් එක්ක තියෙන number එකක්. 2.5 3.4 වගේ. Right? So those kind of so therefore constant can be anything. Right? Constants can be anything. Ek number ekak wenna puluwan, letter ekak wenna puluwan, character ekak wenna puluwan, whatever. But anyway, the idea is throughout the program, although it's a number, although it's a letter, although it's a character, it is same throughout the program. Program එක පුරාවටම එකම දේ තමයි. එකම ඒක ඒ පුරාවටම static වෙනස් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Right. It is considered best practice to define constant using only uppercase names, right? So best practice. This is not must practice, but best practice, right? Make අනිවාර්ය නෑ නමුත් norm එකක් විදියට එක හොඳ පුරුද්දක් විදියට. So we usually define constant using only uppercase names. අපි define කරනකොට ඒ කියන්නේ constant එකට නම දෙන්නේ. Right? So when we are defining, right, when we are naming the constants, better to give uppercase names, right? Uppercase names. Right. Make any constant definition. So in order to say, make a constant we use the keyword as const. For example, initially you saw int, right? Int amount. Int amount කියන variable එක දැක්කා, right? මෙතනදී name එක amount, එතකොට variable එකක් මේක int integer type variable එකක්. Then ඊට පස්සේ දැක්කා double. Total balance I think. Total balance දැක්කා. Right? මෙතනදී කියනවා මේ amount කියන්නේ variable එකක්. Amount it can be so within the program it can be 100,000 1 2 3 whatever. The total balance also within throughout the program total balance it can be 100 20 25,000 1 lakh whatever. But so these are variables. They were variables. Make integer type variable make a double type variable right? Right. So, but if we are defining a constant, අපිට මේක constant එකක් කියලා කියන්න ඕන නම් අපි for example අපිට ඕන නම් amount එක constant කරන්න, right? අපි මේ amount එක අපි හිතමු මේ program එක පුරාවට වෙනස් වෙන්නේ නැති amount එකක් නම් අපි ලියනවා const. Const int amount. මෙතනින් කියවෙන්නේ මොකක්ද? amount එක integer. ඒ කියන්නේ number එකක් තමයි represent වෙන්නේ amount කියන නමේ. Amount, this is the name, this is the identifier, this is the name of the variable, this is the type of the variable, integer type එකක්. ඒ කියන්නේ numeric and තවදුරටත් අපි කියනවා const. Const කියන්නේ මේ amount එක වෙනස් වෙන්නේ නැහැ throughout the program. අපිට වෙනස් කරන්න අවශ්‍ය නැත්නම් if we need to keep it as a constant, we write it as constant amount. And ඒගොල්ලෝ කියනවා best practice එකක් විදියට it's good constant එකක් නම් එයාට දෙන නම මෙහෙම තියන්නලු as a best practice, right? Then whoever the person, whoever the programmer, whoever the third party going to read our program by first glance he or she understand this is a constant. මේ constant කියන එක කියුවේ නැතත් එයාට මේක දැකපු ගමන් තේරෙනවා with the norm of the best practices this is a constant, right? මේ variable එක constant කියන දේ එයා අවබෝධ කරගන්න. Right. So then, example, right? Here you can see an example again. So hash into stdi.h, right? Void main. Then we in order to write a C program, we main header file like include karagana. So that's the meaning of this one. Hash include stdi.h, right? In order to write a C program, you should have to have this header file. Like a header .h can symbolize header file like a. So there are so many header files, all right? So later on, you will write a program including so many mathematical functions, right? Mathematical functions include the local programs. So hash include stdi.h it is not sufficient to use only to use stdi.h. There are so many header files. Other than this, you need to include header files max function max functions use because most of the max operations are included in these header files. Header file like for example, hash include math.h, right? That header file should be included within your program prior to using some math operations, right? Anyway, in order to write at least very basic C program, basic C program make a header file you need to include to your program. Then only the compiler understands this. After writing the program B, hand it over to the compiler to convert it to the binary. So then the compiler will understand now this is a C program. Header file. So after that, void main is the main method. Right, void main is the main method. So under the void main, we are writing whatever the code here. So here, as the first thing, you will understand const inside equal 10. So can you see? So side is so what they are telling is side is a name of the variable and it's a constant. But side uppercase letter SIDE. So it's in uppercase, and also at the very beginning, other than int, when data type එකට අමතරව const කියන වචනේ භාවිතා කරලා තියෙනවා කියන්න මේක constant එකක් කියලා specifically කියන්න. But with the best practice, right, with the best practice අර norm එකක් විදිහට අපි side කියන එක capital වල ලියලා තියෙනවා SIDE, because usually we are writing variables in lowercase. අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් variables ලියන්නේ lowercase. මෙතන ඔයගොල්ලෝ පේනවා ඇති area. But here, since side is a constant, we write it in the uppercase as a best practice, right? So side එක 10යි. So then we initialize another variable called area. නැතරම අපිට ඕනේ මේ area එක හොයන්න. අපි හිතමු අපිට square එකක area එක හොයන්න. We need to find the area of a square. Right, so then you should know the length of one side, and let's assume it's not changing, right? The square so then definitely the length of the side is a constant variable, so therefore that's why they have indicated const space int int, this is the variable, this gives you this is a constant and this is the name, and equal 10. 10 is the length of the side, right? Side එක length එක තමයි 10. Right? Side එක length එක තමයි 10. So in order to find the area, what you have to do? Side multiplied by side. Right? පැත්තක දිග වර්ග කරන්න. එහෙනම් side multiplied. So area is going to be equal side multiplied by side. So now next we want to print the result. එකනේ සම්පූර්ණ area එක වර්ග ප්‍රමාණය අපිට print කරන්න ඕනේ. So printf within double quotes we are writing the area of the square with the side 10 is this one. So here actually the use of this percentage signs we will learn later. අතන මේ code එක ඇතුලේ මේ percentage signs වල තේරුම මොකක්ද? ඒවත් අපි ඉගෙන ගන්නවා ඉක්මනට. Right. So here actually these two constant side equal constant side එහෙම නැත්නම් int area අපි මේවට කියනවා specifically මෙන්න මේ form එක int area semicolon කියන form එකට අපි කියනවා අපි variable declaration variable එක declare කරලා කියන්නේ අපි integer type variable එක හඳුන්වලා දෙනවා program එකට we are introducing integer type variable to the program. Right. So what is the name of the variable area? What is the type of the variable int? Right here, this is actually variable declaration plus variable initialization. Okay, variable එක හඳුන්වා දීලා සහ එයාට value එකක් දීලා. So here, මෙතන තියෙන variable declaration එක විතරයි. Here you can see only just a variable declaration. හඳුන්වා දීමක් පමණයි. මෙතන declare කරලා සහ value එකක් assign කරලා. Constant sign. So let's for a while let's just think that this is not here අපි මේක දැන්ට හිතමු constant එකක් තිබුණ නැහැ කියලා. එතකොට inside equal 10 මෙතනද කියනවා දැන් මෙතන අපිට මෙන්න මෙහෙම දෙන්නක් තිබුණා. We can put it like this, right? But එහෙම කරන්නේ නැතුව here inside equal 10. So that means here may variable එක declare කිරීමට අමතරව other than declaring the variable they have assigned the value 10 to the side. Side කියන එක ඇතුළට 10 කියන එක assign කරලා. Always students, I'm telling you that right within this programming ඇතුලේ so you have to think a variable as an empty bucket. හැම වෙලාවෙම මේ programming ඇතුලේ අපි හිතන්න ඕනේ variable එකක් අපි define කරනවා. When we are introducing a variable, it's like a bucket, right? So at the when we after declaring හඳුන්වා දීමෙන් පස්සේ let's say මේක තමයි area කියලා. This is the area variable, right? This is the variable called area. මේක තමයි area කියන variable, right? So this is the variable area. So here initially there is nothing in the area. මෙතන මොකද අපි දාලා නැහැ මේක bucket එකට. But later on, can you see side multiplied by side? So what is the side 10? Side කියලා කියන්නේ ඇත්තටම 10. So 10 multiplied by 10. Right? 10 multiplied by 10. මුලින් මුකුත් නැති වුණාට පස්සේ මේකට ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා 100. Initially although area එකේ මුකුත් තිබුණ නැති වුණාට ඊට පස්සේ මේකට අපි කියනවා 100 assign වෙලා තියෙනවා. But if you consider about this side කියන variable එක ගත්තොත් right if you consider about this side variable initially මේ ආගේ ඇතුලේ 10ක් දාලා තමයි අපිට එවන්නේ. Right? Initially 100 is assigned at the declaration. At the declaration stage එකේ declaration and initialization කියන දෙකම වෙලා. හඳුන්වා දීමත් එක්ක value එකක් දාලාම එනවා. Right? So that is this particular side variable it contains 10 already. But in the area variable initially there is no value, but later on 10 multiplied by 10 100 is assigned to the area. මේකට අපි කියනවා so this thing just variable declaration. This thing just variable declaration and initialization. මේ තියෙන int area කියන්නේ variable declaration කියන stage එක inside equal 10 කියවම variable declaration plus initialization both. These terms when you are doing programming you should familiar with this term. So after running this program this is the output. The area of the square with the side 10 is 100 square units. So මෙතන අපි ලියනවා the area of the square with the side right here the use of this will tell you later and square units මෙන්න මේ area right the area එක ඇතුලේ මෙතන area එක so at this step although there is nothing in the area but මෙතනට එනකොට මේ area කියන variable එකේ C 100. So that 100 is going to print here. Right. At this stage, there is nothing in this variable, but at this stage, මේ පියවර පැනපු හැටියේ immediately after this line, area consisted of 100, the value 100. So this is the output, right? So the best thing is you by yourself can write this program on the C compiler and compile it and run it. And then you can change the 10 to 2, 5, 6, and you can change these parameters and see what will happen to the output, what will happen to the program. මේ හැමදේම වෙනස් කර බලන්න, type කරලා බලන්න, වෙනස් කර බලන්න, output එක බලන්න, then you will understand what is this, right? Next. Right. So here is another thing that you should pay attention, right? Methodology, here you see, right? I told you in order to show that this is a constant rather than just a variable declaration. Variable එකක් තමයි නමුත් එයා constant කියලා කියන්න තමයි. So we have put const here. Right? So const, then data type, then name of the constant. එහෙමයි පිළිවෙල ආවේ. First constant keyword, then data type, name. But they are saying these two can be interchangeable. ඒගොල්ලෝ කියනවා මෙන්න මේ දෙක තියෙන තැන වෙනස් කරාට කමක් නැහැ. Right. Sorry. These two are interchangeable. Right? කියන්නේ දෙන්න වෙනස් කරන්න පුළුවන්. You can write, this is the usual way. මේක තමයි අපිට පුරුදු විදිය const inside, but it can be written as in conside. Anyway, so if you saw the keyword const, it represents that this particular variable is a constant. Make a in const constant const කියන එක දැක්කම ඔබට තේරුම් ගන්නවා මේක constant එකක් කියලා. Right. Right. Constant types in C. Right. Constant types in C. Constants are categorized into two basic types, and each of these types has its subtypes or as the categories. These are primary constants are there, numeric constants. So immediately we work with numeric constant. Like a numeric constant. Side can integer. So that means numeric. Integer constant, real constants are there. Then under the character constants, single character constant, string constant, backslash character constants are there. Single character constants. Now උදාහරණයක් විදිහට අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන් say examples that I will. Right. So under this, first we are coming to the integer constants. So it's referring to a sequence of digits. Right. It's referring to a sequence of digits. Integers are of three types. Integer constants. So under the numeric constants, integer constants are there. Right. Integer constants are there. Under the integer constants, right, three types of integers are there. Decimal is there, octal is there, hexadecimal is there. Decimal තියෙනවා, octal තියෙනවා, hexadecimal තියෙනවා. මේ ඕනම එකක් constant එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Right? Decimal, octal, hexadecimal. Right. So then real constants, real. So the numbers containing fractional parts like 99.25 are called the real or floating point constants. Then under the numeric constants, integer constant, real constants. So these are integer constants. Now real constants. The real constants the numbers containing fractional parts. So under the integer, integer යටතේ දශම සංඛ්‍යා සලකන්නේ නැත. පූර්ණ සංඛ්‍යා විතරයි. Right. Under the real constants, fractional parts like 99.25 are called real or floating point constants. Right? So that is real. So the difference between integer constant and the real constants is that, so here under the real constants, we are considering about the fractions. දෙකේ වෙනස integer real අතර වෙනස මෙතන අපි fractions අරගන්නවා. Right. Single character constants ගත්තත් right. Single character constants. So here you can see under the character constants, first one is single character constant. What are single character constants? It simply contains a single character enclosed within one inverted comma and a pair of single quote. එක single quote එකක් ඇතුලේ එක single quote එකක් ඇතුලේ මෙතන single quote එකක් ඇතුලේ එන character එක. ඒක numeric එකක් වෙන්නත් පුළුවන් alphabetic number එකක් වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. It can be alphanumeric, right? It's not the same. එතකොට so within single quote ඇතුලේ 8 place කරන එකයි නිකන් අට දාන එකයි දෙක දෙකක්. Right? Again I am saying, so if the number 8 is within single quote එක ඇතුලේ අට ඉන්න එකයි without single quote අට ඉන්න එකයි මේක දෙකක්. For example, if we are writing just 8, it is an integer character constant. If we are writing 8 within a single quote, this is a character constant. Make a dekka. Right? Remember that. If you are writing character constants, definitely you have to put the single quote. Anivaran single quote එක දාන්න. එහෙම නැතුණු තේක integer constant එකක් වෙනවා. Be careful. Right? Okay, character constants have a specific set of integer values known as ASCII values. So you know ASCII, I think, American Standard Code for Information Interchange. So these are the examples. This is a character constant, capital X within single quote, 5 within single quote, and semicolon also within. So this is also a character constant. It's not constant. Semicolon එක single quote එකක් අතුලේ දැම්මත් ඒක constant එකක්. Right. Then string constants. මතකයි under the character constants, now we know what is single character constants. ඊට පස්සේ එන string constants ඊට පස්සේ එනවා backslash character constants. අපි දැන් යනවා string constants වලට. String constants. So these are a sequence of characters enclosed in double quotes. The difference between character constants and the string constant is in the character constants we use single quote, but here we are using double quotes. Character constants එකේදී අපි use කරේ single quote එක දැන් මෙතන double quote. එතකොට ඕගොල්ලොන්ට ඇත්තටම right අට if you are placing number 8 within double quotes, so that will be a string constant. Right. It again මෙතන කියනවා note කරන්න. So these two are different. Double quote එක ඇතුලේ capital G ඉන්න එක is single quote එක ඇතුලේ capital G ඉන්න එකයි මේක දෙකක්. Right. This is a string. If it is double quote, it's a string. If it is single quote, it's a character. So be careful. Right. These are the sequence of characters enclosing double quotes, and they may include letters, digits, special characters, and blank spaces. ඕනම දෙයක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන් double quote එක ඇතුලේ. Letters, digits, special characters, and blank spaces. Right. It's again to be noted that within double quote G and within double quote G are different, because if the G is placed within double quotes, it's present a string as it is enclosed within pair of double quotes, whereas if G represent within single quote represent a single character. Right. So these are some examples. Right. Next thing is backslash character constant. Backslash character constant. Backslash එකත් එක්ක character එකක් එනකොට ඒකේ මොකද්ද කියන්නේ? මෙහෙම දේවල් ඔයගොල්ලෝ දැකලා ඇති. within program, C program /t තියෙනවා /n තියෙනවා. What is this? Right. There are /t /n. What do you mean by this? Right. C supports some character constants having backslash in front of it. Right. The list of backslash characters have specific meaning which is known to the compiler. They are also මේවටම තමයි අපි කියන්නේ escape sequence. Escape sequences කියලා කියන්නේත් මෙහෙමම තමයි. Backslash character constants or escape sequences. Now, in most of the reference books and websites, they are using the word escape sequences. ඊට අමතරව backslash character constants කියන්නේත් මෙහෙමම තමයි. /t /n. So actually, in a program, if you have seen /t, so the meaning of it is give a tab. tab එකක් තියන්න කියන එක තමයි. For example, if we want to print something including a tab space එකක් ඇතුලේ යම්කිසි දෙයක් print කරන්න නම් අපි දෙන්නේ /t කියන character constant. Right? If you want to go to a new line, ඒ කියන්නේ අපි enter ගහලා new line එකකට යනවා වගේ. So when you press enter, you can go to the next line. Likewise, within the program, if you want to print the statements in a new line, so then what you are going to do is you put /n. Right? You put /n is used to give a new line. Right? /n is used to give a new line. Right? So these are the two, but escape sequences or / console. These are the set of escape sequences. මේ තමයි ඉතිරි ඔක්කොම. Right? Right. So this is how you already know. In order to give a horizontal tab /t, in order to go for a new line /n. So /a for beep sound, /b for backspace. Within in your keyboard you have the backspace name. So if you want to give the backspace effect within your program, you can include /b. Then form feed /f, new line /n, carriage return /r, a vertical tab. So for the horizontal tab, normally we are using horizontal tab, but there are some programs where you have to use the vertical tab also. So for that /b. For the single quote single quote, double quote, / now. So these are all the escape sequences or / character constants. Then secondary constants are there, right? Secondary constants. So what are the secondary constants? Arrays are there, pointers are there, structures are there, unions are there, right? So these are called secondary constants, right? Secondary constants, arrays, pointers, structures, union, inner. Next, we are coming to the operators. Now, students, first we learn about the identifiers, then we learn about the keywords, then we learn about the constants. Now we are coming to the operators, right? Then you know the operators. C operators. C operators are symbols that are used to perform mathematical or logical manipulation. These are very common to you. Right? C operators, normal operators which we are using in maths. But there are small differences when you are representing it within the C program. Right? So C operators are symbols that are used to perform mathematical or logical manipulations. The C program language is rich with built-in operators. Operators take part in a program for manipulating data and variables and form a part of the mathematical or logical expressions. Right? We'll see. So when you look at the example, you will understand what are these. C programming language offers various types of operators having different functionalities and capabilities. So under the C operators, arithmetic operators, relational operators, logical operators, assignment operators, increment and decrement operators, conditional operator, bitwise operators, special operators. One by one we will look at. These things you already know. Right? These are called arithmetic operators. Arithmetic operators are used to perform mathematical calculations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and modulus. Right? So here, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus. Right? They are known to you. Right? So here, C program to add two numbers. C program to add two numbers. So here, this is the normal structure of the program, hash include stdio.h, right? So then under the main method, now we are going to add two numbers. Numbers program. Now we are going to write a program to add two numbers using addition arithmetic operator. Addition can arithmetic operator numbers add. Right. Hash include stdio.h. So within the main method, void main, within the curly braces we are writing. So we are going to So now you can see අපි variables දෙකක් declare කරලා initialize කරලා තියෙනවා. int I කියන්නේ integer type variable එකක්. I කියලා bucket එකක් අපි හදාගෙන තියෙනවා. Right? So we have a bucket called I. We have a bucket called I. එතකොට initially a bucket එකේ තුන තියෙනවා. Right. Then we have another variable called j. That is again also an integer variable called j. And initially j is equal 7. And also they have declared k. Again an integer variable එකක් k කියලා variable එකක් තියෙනවා. And that variable is not initialized. It can declare කරලා විතරයි තියෙන්නේ. Initialize කරලා නැහැ. අගයක් දාන්න. Right? So I is the variable I is declared and initialized. Variable j is declared and initialized. Variable k is an integer variable where it is not initialized but only declared. Right. Now here what I said. Now they are saying k is going to be equal I plus j. So what is I? I is 3. What is j? J is 7. Right. So I plus j means 3 plus 7. 3 plus 7. So the value is 10. I done j. 3 dana 7 10. එතකොට from this line onwards, the may line එකට එනකොට, right? So when you come to this line, k is loaded with 10. Then on the then තමයි k කියන එකට 10 වැටෙනවා. Printf, now we are going to print the result. Printf, sum of two numbers is 10. කේවලගේ දැන් 10. Right? So that is how we have used the arithmetic operator called addition. Arithmetic addition කියන arithmetic operation එක පාවිච්චි කරලා numbers දෙකක් add කරේ. That is how we have added two numbers using the arithmetic operation, addition arithmetic operation. And this is the output. Increment and decrement operators. This is also very important, students, right? Increment and decrement operators, right? So increment and decrement. So now, students, we have done with arithmetic operations. Then අපි addition පාවිච්චි කරා වගේ. So as we have used addition within our program, so you can use subtraction, multiplication, division modules. මේ ඕනම එකක් ඒ විදිහට පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන්. So the next type is increment and decrement operators. Increment and decrement operators are useful operators generally used to minimize the calculation. Right? In order to minimize the calculation, we are using this increment and decrement operators. Right? Right. Thank you, Mihima. So here, if you are writing like this, plus plus. This is like x plus x plus. Right, students. So here you can see. So main DNA. So these two are increment operators, right? These two are increment operators. Main DNA plus plus x. Increment minus minus x decrement, right? This is increment. This is decrement, right? So plus plus x කියන එක අපිට ලියන්න පුළුවන්. We can write this increment operator instead of this. x equals x plus 1. X equals x plus 1 වෙනුවට තමයි මෙන්න මේ increment operator එක ලියලා දෙකෙන්ම කියවෙන්න එකමද. And also minus minus x. This is the decrement operator. Right? This is the decrement operator. So we can write this instead of this. X equals x minus x. X equals x minus 1. කියන එක වෙනුවට තමයි මේ minus minus x දාලා තියෙන්නේ. Right? Increment and decrement operators are useful operators generally to minimize the calculations. මේ calculations minimize කරගන්න තමයි මේ විදිහට අපි increment decrement පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ. Here also what you have to be very careful is here under the increment decrement operators you should be very careful because under the incrementation එක එන්න පුළුවන් plus plus x or right අපි මෙතන කියනවා this is pre increment, this is post increment. Increment වල වර්ග දෙකක් තියෙනවා. So for the decrement is also the same case. Right. මෙතන අපි කියනවා pre increment, post increment, pre decrement, post decrement. So you need to be careful about this as well, right? So but there is a slight difference between plus plus or minus minus written before or after. ඒක තමයි මෙතනින් කියන්නේ. Variable එක ඉස්සරහට plus plus දාන එකයි. So when you place two pluses before the variable, that is pre increment. When you insert two plus signs after the variable, so that is post increment. Two different meanings, right? So for the minus also same case. When you go through an example, you will understand what is this. Here. Alright. To demonstrate prefix and postfix, අපි කියන pre-increment, pre-decrement, pre-increment, post-increment, pre-decrement, post-decrement. එහෙම නැත්නම් මෙතන මේවට කියනවා prefix, postfix කියලා කියනවා. Prefix, postfixes, right? Right. So include include stdi.h, right? Void main. So here, other than that, I think this is a comment, right? So you may have seen this with any comment. This is a comment. So if you start a line with two slashes, slash දෙකකින් ඔයගොල්ලෝ යම් කිසි දෙයක් program එකේ include කරනවා අපි කියනවා comment එක. Right? So comments are included in order to clearly state what this program is about or what this section of the program is about. මේ program එකේ වෙන්නේ මොකක්ද කියන එක ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑමර්ට කියවීමේ පහසුවට තමයි අපි මේක එහෙම විස්තරයක් විදිහට දාන්නේ. So here when the compiler, so normally after writing the program we hand this over to a compiler to convert into a binary code name, but so during the compilation when the compiler look into this එයා මේ double code දෙක දැකපු ගමන්ම එයා මේ line එක execute කරන්න නැතුව ඊළඟ line එකට එනවා. So because when the compiler understand there's a two double slashes are there, then it understand this is a comment but not a code included in the general program. Right? Program එකේ තියෙන program code එකක් නෙමෙයි මේක comment එකක් කියන එක අඳුන ගන්නවා. So then the compiler omit this line, omit of compiling this line. Other than that he come to the next line. මේක දැකපු හැටි ඒක avoid කරලා ඊළඟ එකට එනවා. There are two types of comments. So you can put a comments like this, right, with two slashes, or else you can put a comment like this. Right? So assume that you need to include multiple lines. Comment you need to include multiple lines. You can put these two slashes and write whatever you need. What you can do is if you so assume that you need to include a paragraph comment එකක් දෙන්න ඕන නම් so you can write insert slash asterisk and you can include whatever the paragraph there, and at the end of the paragraph again you can put same thing. Again you can put slash asterisk. Right? Again, some paragraph එක පටන් ගන්නකොට at the beginning of the paragraph you insert this, at the end of the paragraph you insert this. So this is a multi-line comment. So then when the compiler come to see this, if he observe this, he understand now this is a multi-line comment. Then compiler search for the end. So when end at the beginning it recognizes this symbol, at the end it recognizes this symbol. So this total set of lines he is going to omit. මේ සම්පූර්ණ set එක omit කරලා ඊළඟ line එකට එනවා compile කරන්න. Because compiler knows if the code starts with 2 slashes, so that's a single line comment. If the code section starts with slash with asterisk and end with asterisk and slash, so that is a multi-line comment. So then the compiler is not going to read whatever inside this. Comments are included in order to clarify the reader what this program is about. මේ program එකේ මොකක්ද වෙන්නේ කියන එක පැහැදිලි කිරීමක් තමයි මෙතනදී. Other than that, so you can write the program without any explanations, but there are people, almost every people are not competent in programming. Keyword එකක්, operator එකක්, structure එකක්, array එකක් දැකපු හැටි program එක මේකයි කියලා අවබෝධ කරගන්න බැරි නම් for easy understanding, so normally the comments are included within the program. Right. So it will be a good guide through the program, and it will describe what this program is about. Right. What this program is about. Right. Okay. So so void main within the main method. So two variables, you can see two variables, integer variables are there. Int a equals 5, b equals 5. So that means two variables have been declared and initialized. A, b, both are integer variables. A is initialized with 5 and also b is initialized with 5. Again, this is a comment to print them and decrementing each time. This is again a comment, use postfix mode for a and prefix mode for a b. Right. So here you can see when you come to print this line, right? A minus minus, A minus minus. So that means first you are going to print A. Salama ogolo dakine A. A දැක්කම A print කරනවා. So what is A5? But when you come to this line, මේ line එකට එනකොට A minus minus postfix එලා මෙතනදී post decrement එකක් තියෙන්නේ. එහෙනම් A වලින් එකක් අඩු වෙලා because මම කිව්වා minus minus කියන එකෙන් අර්ථවත් වෙන්නේ minus minus කියන්නේ අපි ගත්තොත් A equals A minus 1 plus plus කියන එකෙන් අර්ථවත් වෙන්නේ A equals A plus 1. Right? So then if we have minus minus A, initially A is 5. Initially A is 5. එතකොට minus minus A නම් initially our A is equal 5. So minus minus A now, then minus minus කියන්නේ A equals A minus 1. එහෙනම් මෙතනට එනකොට මේක 4. Right? But if we have A minus minus, A minus minus. මෙතන තියෙන්නේ post decrement එකක්. So at the first glance it is 5. So when you come to here it is 5, but when you come to here it is 4. When you come to here it is 3, here it is 2, here it is 1. මේකේ මානික පැත්ත තමයි b ට වෙන්නේ. දැන් බලන්න a වල මුලින් at the very beginning a is 5. අඩු නෑ එක. From second line onwards 4 3 2 1. That is because a is postfix. Minus minus is after a. Post decrement එකක් තියෙන. a වලින් පස්සේ තමයි decrement එක වෙන්නේ. But when you look at b දිහා බැලුවොත් b වල තියෙන pre decrement එකක් තියෙනවා. මුලින් අඩු වෙන්නේ. ඒ නිසා at the very beginning, right? At the very beginning, although at the very beginning a පහක් වුණාට මොකද a වල තියෙන post decrement එකක් ඉස්සලා 5යි. ඊට පස්සේ line එකේ 4යි. ඊට පස්සේ 3යි. මොකද a වලට තියෙන post decrement. But b is pre decrement. අඩු වෙලාමයි එන්නේ. එතකොට at the very beginning b4. මෙතනට එනකොට b3. Here it is 2. Here it is 1. Here it is 0. මෙතන 5 4 3 2 1. That is the difference between pre-decrement and post-decrement. Pre-increment. With the decrement, increment will come plus plus right? So that difference you should need to be identified clearly. Operational operators, right? Operational operators or relational operators are used to compare two quantities or values. Values දෙකක් compare කරන්න අපි පාවිච්චි කරනවා. Right? There's a request of explaining the percentage D. Actually, we'll come to later because under the escape sequences I can't do it. Immediately, we'll explain what is percentage D, right? So relational operators are used to comparing two quantities or values. That may comparing. In order to compare two values, this is how we are doing. If it is equal, right? So here, this thing also I should clearly say, right? So so if you have variables, so here let's assume a කියලා ගත්තොත් it's an a. So here int a, if you have only int a, that is variable declaration. But here other than that you have equal 5. මෙතන කියන්නේ you have a variable name a කියලා variable එකක් තියෙනවා. අපි 5 ඒක ඇතුළට දාලා තියෙනවා. We have put 5 here. So මෙතනදී අපි so here we treat this particular equal. මේ equality කියන එක අපි හිතන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ සමානයි 5 කියන එක නෙමෙයි මෙතන කියන්නේ. A is equal 5 කියන එක නෙමෙයි මේ. Remember that. That is very important under the programming. Here we are going to assign 5 to A. Here we are going to assign 5 to A. 5 8 assign කරා. 5 8 දැම්ම. So එහෙනම් equal කියන්නේ equal A is equal 5 කියන්න නම් අපට අවශ්‍යයි එහෙනම් අපි මෙතන ලියන්න ඕනේ A is equal double equal 5. අපට ඇත්තටම කියන්න ඕනේ A සමානයි 5යි නම් then we are using double equals. This is one important point that most of the students miss when they are writing programs, right? So is equal to, you have to indicate two equals, not equal, exclamation mark equal, greater than okay, less than okay, greater than or equal okay, less than or equal okay. Maybe so these four is okay with you. But in order to indicate is equal to, is not equal to, these are the two. Especially is equal to. Right? So logical operators, so C provides 3 logical operators. So when we test more than one condition to make a decision, and then So for N, to end signs or to vertical signs and not exclamation mark. Right. So these things. So here onwards, actually, so we need to write separate programs to understand operational operators, logical operators, and bitwise operators. So we need to write them on the C compiler itself and need to run. So therefore, I'm not going to continue that point onwards. So I'm requesting you to master, to write your own programs of what we have done up to now and have some idea, have some hands-on experience on them, and then we'll write, because you need to clearly understand where you need to put is equal to and logical operators and bitwise operators. So we are going to write program on compiler itself and understand what is this. So that will be done on next week onwards. So thank you for joining with the lecture. We'll upload this lecture note as well to the LMS. The first lecture note is already uploaded to the LMS. Please start installing a software and write your own codes, right? So because after few lectures, after completing few lectures, I will give you the first assignment, right? Okay, so thank you. Be with the lecture. So now on, you can send me the messages for the attendance. We'll continue the rest of the lectures next week. And so the day and the time of the lecture will inform you quickly. Most probably, I will ship the lecture on Thursday, this usual timing 9 to 11. We'll confirm from my side and let you know immediately. Okay, thank you. Thank you for joining the lecture. So those who have sent me the messages, you can leave the lecture. Right, thank you.